Once again, it is time for us to enter a siege defense. The siege defense will not consist of the entire episode because I know that we've been doing quite a few siege defenses recently, and it does get a bit repetitive at times. So I'm just going to show the kind of important bits, and I'm also going to show exactly what I've done in the off-screen time, or at least I'm going to tell you what I did. Anyway. In my off-screen time, I made my way over to Bravos because obviously Stannis was kind enough to give me ownership over the Weeping Town, which was extremely surprising. I was not anticipating that in any way, but he did, and it was very, very nice of him. And so what I did was I went into the castle, spoke to my Seneschal, and I basically was just like, hey, can you give me some money? And he was like, yeah, it's your money, just take it, you know? And so I just took 10,000 out, and I went all the way to Bravos. Took me a bit of time. I actually just went to Pentos across the sea, which was, I think, maybe not the most efficient path, but I wanted to get off the ocean as soon as possible. So I went to Pentos, and then I made my way up to Bravos, because obviously I want to go in there and put that 10k in the Iron Bank, and so that's what I've done, and it's given me the interest, the first week's interest, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's done. I think it does about 340 or something like that, which is pretty decent, I'd say. And I don't know whether you've noticed, but I actually have a two-handed blunt weapon that crushes through blocks, and this is exactly the weapon that I really wanted to get. Well, actually, it's basically any blunt weapon I really wanted to get, so thank you very much for all of your suggestions in the comments on the previous episode. They were extremely helpful because it actually let me know exactly where to go and get this thing. I think this was actually in the Weeping Town's marketplace, amusingly enough, because this is actually a thing that the Hammermen use, I believe, the Stormlands Hammermen. I think you can actually get some good ones in... I think you can go to Norvos. I think you can get a two-handed mace there. I think in the Reach as well. A number of people said that. So I do appreciate it wholeheartedly because I was really wanting a crushing through blocks weapon, because as you can see, even when these guys have their shields up, I'm still able to deal damage. And I think that that is a really, really crucial skill to have when you are facing units that are like these guys that generally tend to have a huge amount of shielded units. And bear in mind, it's now not going to deflect my blows. So you know how it is when you're actually attacking a shielded unit and your weapon is deflected against the shield and you don't do any damage? Well, that actually messes up the rhythm of my attacks. So that's generally the reason why I actually wanted to get a crushing through blocks weapon, apart from the fact that it's just so incredibly useful, because now it basically means that I have a constant damage stream. So I can basically do damage all the time, and I have no idea what happened with that black screen. Did you see that black screen? I have no idea. If you saw that black screen, I apologize. I have no idea what happened with that, but whatever the case, this is going to be the first of many of our our attempts to defend the Weeping Town against the Reach. Yes, these are actually Reach vassals that are attempting to attack us here. They have 426, I believe, and we only have 214. But as we have shown in previous episodes, even if they outnumber us, Elias is definitely the guy. He's definitely the guy that you want to go to if you have a ghost problem, you know, who you want to call. Actually, no. That's actually not it. That is actually the wrong advert. That is from a parallel universe that Elias stars in. But anyway, the point is that he is the guy to go to when you want a whole bunch of people killed. Not assassin style, but in a siege defense, that's definitely the way to go. Anyway, we're going to be taking care of the other remaining units. This is... it's actually kind of amusing now that we are starting to actually knock people unconscious instead of actually killing them. Because obviously, usually, if you have a non-blunt weapon, if you have a cutting weapon or a piercing weapon or something like that, then you're going to be seeing a huge amount of kills. But we're actually seeing a huge amount of unconsciousness now. So I guess this is a really, really good way to gain a huge amount of prisoners and sell them for a good amount of cash. But obviously I don't have that much in the way of prisoner management anyway. And as I said, this episode is not going to consist of only siege defense. So I guess I'll see you when there's well, a rather interesting tidbit of information to display. Maybe the ending casualty screen or something like that. Alright, so myself and Elias grew a little bit tired of staying behind the walls and standing at the top of the ladder just waiting for our opponents to come to us, so I decided, hey, let's go out here and do something completely inadvisable, and we'll see what we can do about doing a bit of a strike team effort here. I actually intended on sending my units and charging down the ladder, but unfortunately it appears as though there is a little, shall we say, raised area on the ladder, so it actually prevents people from actually going out of the settlement itself, which is actually kind of a shame. I was actually hopeful that it would be, you know, doable, because that would make things much, much easier and a little bit quicker as well, because I'd be able to deal damage with all of our units instead of just Elias. But that's just, you know, it's just how it is apparently. So yeah, but this weapon is fantastic, and personally, this is a personal recommendation from me. If you're having difficulties, you know, if you're having difficulties dealing with heavily armored units, and you want to have something that is also capable of taking people prisoner and things like that, get a blunt weapon. Even if it doesn't have the crush through blocks thing, which most blunt weapons actually do, I think. Most of them will have the crush through blocks, but if they don't, it doesn't matter, because blunt weapons in general are fantastic. I'm a big fan of blunt weapons. They're really, really fun to use because apart from them being obviously able to take prisoners, they deal so much damage to heavily armored units, plated units mostly. And of course, the one thing you have to consider is the weapon proficiency. If you have a good weapon proficiency, then this is, well, I would say pretty easily doable, but obviously if you don't, then it might be a bit tricky because most of your opponents, unless they are particularly bad in the case of the Reach Pikemen, because these guys really, they don't know how to particularly fight in close quarters combat, because they are pikemen. They are mostly designed for cavalry. But the point is that high proficiency is certainly going to make a big difference. I don't have high proficiency. I have about 300, I think. So it's pretty good. You know, it's a decent level. It's not superhuman level or anything like that, but it is pretty decent. So it's not too bad. But yeah, if you don't have a good proficiency, then you just got to play a little bit more tactically. And I know that for certain that is definitely the case, because I have played with a blunt weapon in the very beginning of a series that I played, I don't know, a couple of months ago, and it was really hard, actually, really hard to start off, because when you have, I don't know, 50, 80 proficiency in anything, you're not going to be that good, you know? You're not going to be that good. So archery, one-handed, whatever, it's going to be very difficult to start off with that, especially with a massive two-handed mace of some kind. It's going to be super slow. As you can see, this weapon is actually pretty slow. I don't know whether you can see that. I mean, just imagine this without 300 weapon proficiency. If I had 80, it would be, I don't know, would it be unusable? No, I don't think it would be unusable, but it would be more difficult, much more difficult to use. But obviously, if your own skill as a player can, you know, sway that in your favor, then I think that's really great. I think that's really great. I'm not saying that I'm skilled, by the way. I'm just saying that in general, when you have a slower weapon, you've got to be careful about which battles you pick, and you can't just wade in there like I am, like an idiot, and expect to win in every single situation. But yep, anyway, that will be it, I think, for these guys. I mean, I think I should be eliminating the last remaining waves relatively soon. Our friends and troops are now cheering for the victory at the Weeping Town defense, and as you can see, we actually only gained 5 renown. I feel like that needs to be so much more for siege defenses, because even though it is relatively easy, I mean, look at that, 485, and I wounded 311 of them myself, which is kind of crazy. Obviously, I was running around outside for, well, half of the time, so it was a bit more fun that way. But, you know, standing behind on the top of the ladder, just going overhead, you know, that's a bit tiresome at times. So it's nice to get out there and actually say hi to the denizens of the Reach. They're not going to be too pleased about that, because, you know, Elias's form of saying hi is big two-handed warhammer to the face. Yes. I mean, not to his friends, obviously, but anyway. We're going to be taking this guy prisoner. As is always the case, we're going to be taking most of these guys prisoner, even though technically this is not a good idea. Technically, me taking these guys prisoner, the ones with good personalities, is not a good idea, because if I do want to create my own faction in the future, it is going to be kind of hard to get vassals to defect to you, but I kind of still need the cash. Even though you may think, oh, but you have, what, how much, you know, you have like, what, 24,000 or something in your treasury, and you have, you know, 10,000 in the Iron Bank or something. Yeah, technically I do, but I still want to have a little bit more because I'd like to be able to get some dye works up and running, and I'm currently having huge weekly cost. Now, you may see something for a second in the bottom right there. You may think, 150 coins? That's not a high weekly cost. Yeah, there's actually, there's a good reason for that. I actually placed all of my units in the garrison because I was actually waiting there while the, you know, while the siege was actually waiting to happen. I was just waiting inside, as I did not want to pay their food cost, and I did not want to pay the costs, you know, the full cost, shall we say, of all of these units, because they're just going to eat me out of house and home super fast. So yeah, there you go. We were able to win against them, and they have 300. What? There's 300. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, that's actually really awesome. That means that because we don't have the space for all of these guys, it is super cool that the garrison will now take on that burden, and they will basically take all of the units that we had taken prisoner, or that we had knocked unconscious. And in this case, that was 311 of them, which is super insane, because that means that if there's a ransom broker here, that's a bit problematic, actually, because now I've realized I only have 10 in prisoner management, and if I do, at some point, want to sell all of these guys, then it is going to result in, well, let's just say not too good efficiency, because I'm going to have to take 10 at a time, and it's going to be actually kind of harsh. Oh yeah, and I also need to do that thing, don't I? Ah yes, someone actually told me about some really awesome units now that I have something, and I can't remember what it is, so I'm gonna have to go back and look in the comments and see what's going on with that, because apparently there's some really good units that I can get now that I have something, but I'm not entirely sure what it was, so we will have to go and do that. Anyway, we're going to move on. We're going to move on straight away. I do have a little bit to restore myself. I have 155 over 164. There's Courtenay Penrose. He's just chilling out, getting attacked by a Dragonstone vassal, as is the case, you know, as it should be. And we're going to make our way around. Hello. There he is. He's trying to loot something, but it's already looted, so it's okay. Anyway, we're going to go to Harvest Hall. That is the first castle that we were attempting to do. Oh, you're resting on a bench in a small village. Sitting near the village center, you notice a traveling singer. Sitting down beside you on the bench, he offers to sing you a song for free. You decide to ask him to sing the Rains of Castamere. I mean, come on, we have to. Right? You come upon a temple. The priests are busy working or praying. None of them is armed. Do you see golden treasures? No, we're just going to pass by. Gain some nice honor for that. And we're going to be starting this. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. It is going to take 32 hours, though. Well, we already have a ransom right here. 3,800 coins for Lord Martin right there. So we're going to take that, because that's amazing. That's really good. That's I think probably more at the top end of the ransoms, because mostly we've been seeing about 2,000 to 3,000. So anything more than that, and I'm perfectly happy to take it. So let's actually just, oh yeah, we can't wait until anymore. Okay, so we're just gonna wait here, and we'll see what's going on. So how many units do I have? Wow, we've actually got a pretty significant amount on the battlefield right now, so that's pretty good. So we have 88, they have 99. I think this is actually pretty good. I think this is actually pretty good, because as you can see, there's a rather large ladder. It's pretty good width-wise. It's got a nice width to it, because that means that we will be able to just you know, shove in a whole bunch of units and we don't have to really worry about anyone falling off. Me, yes. Because I'm gonna fall off if there's any opportunity for that to happen. I will fall off 100% of the time. So anyway, let's just put my archers outside. I actually do have a couple of archers. I only have 8, so that's not really gonna do too much. Wait a minute, where's the what? What? Wait a minute. Where's the ladder? That's kind of interesting. That is kind of, this is the first time I have seen this, and that is a pretty big statement, you know, considering the amount of mods and the amount of sieges that I have played. Right, okay. We're gonna have to retreat. Hopefully I don't lose any renown for that, because that's it. I can't take Harvest Hall. There is no way that I will be able to take Harvest Hall because of that huge bug. I don't know why. I don't know why that happened. I have no idea. Okay, well that's fine. No problem at all. There's the new marshal asking me to go and meet him. Personally, I won't be doing that, unfortunately. So let's see. Okay, this is another 32 hours. Alright, so the renown value for this battle is 20, and we are hopefully not going to see a problem with our siege equipment this time around. I wonder who built that siege equipment. Is it because we are so incredibly bad at engineering? Well, I know that that's obviously not the case, because it does not affect the it does not affect the quality of the siege equipment, but it's amusing to think of it. It's amusing, because if I had, I don't know, if I had someone that had that was more of a bigger personality in the party, then I would probably blame them. But for the moment, let's blame Elias. Why not? Why not? Because, I mean, come on. Can he see what he's doing in that helmet? Probably not. So he probably drew the plans up absolutely awfully, and well, that was the main problem with it. Now, these are actually pretty cool layouts. I gotta say, these are pretty cool layouts, because we actually have to run along this this path here, and I should say it's pretty devilish for them to do this to us, but that's fine. That's fine. You know, it's the defender's prerogative to send the attackers along this kind of path, but hopefully we will be able to ascend some kind of ladder, or wait a minute. Do I actually have to beat this this gate down? Yes, we do. Ah, this is cool. Okay. This is actually really cool, because it's been a while since I've seen a destructible target, that's for sure. So I'm pretty happy to do this. Absolutely, yeah, get us in there. Thank you very much. I have my... Ooh, this is cool. Okay, I like this quite a bit. I'm a big fan of alternate methods of siege warfare. I really, really appreciate it, because whenever you're doing a siege and you have a siege tower, or you have some siege ladders, and then you're thinking to yourself, okay, yeah, that's fine, you know, because the game only has those two options usually. I mean, obviously mods have added a number of other things, like for example battering rams, and also destructible gates, like we've just seen right here. That's obviously a huge, wonderful breath of fresh air. And I like that. I like that a lot. And I really wish more sieges had these kinds of things available, because even though it's maybe... Is it too easy to get in? Personally, I don't think so, because it does keep the gameplay flowing. It keeps it flowing in such a way as to not make it frustrating, not make it tedious. I'm saying hello to you, Siege Tower, you know, because the Siege Tower is utterly... it's tragic, really. I mean, that's the thing. The Siege Tower does not really do much to give you any benefit as the attacker. So, I mean, obviously it's not meant to give you any benefit, you know. It's meant to just be a way for the defenders to gain a little bit of an extra advantage there. But personally, I don't know. I'm skeptical about it. I'm not a big fan of it at all. I think it is kind of harsh unless you have only archers in your army. I know that it has been proven in the past in a number of my series that if you have a significant amount of archer presence in your army, then you're going to have an absolutely fine time and you will not have any problems whatsoever with the siege tower. But if you have, for example, let's say you're playing native and you've got the Nords, and then you get a siege tower and you're up against the Rodoks, or if you're up against the Vaegirs or something like that, and let's say you don't have too many Nord Huskarls, it's still going to be maybe pretty easy for you because, you know, Nords are generally very hardy units. They're very good at what they do. They're very heavy infantry, but you've still got to deal with that, and it's still annoying to wait until the siege tower gets to the walls. And I know that there are a number of ways. I think I did some research on this years ago, but I think there are a number of ways to actually increase the speed of the siege tower, so you don't actually have to wait as long as you currently do. But I think it was kind of difficult to do because you actually have to go into the game files and you have to change a whole bunch of code and you have to wade through this amalgamation of huge amounts of code in the game files, and it's very, very difficult to do that when you have no idea about coding. Me, I don't have any idea about coding, so it is kind of harsh. It's kind of harsh to do that. I'm actually wondering what's going on here. Are we actually killing them or are they killing us? Because it seems to me like we are in a pretty weird stalemate situation that no one is able to really push through and do anything. So I'm actually thinking, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tell my nearby soldiers. Okay, you know what? Can you just all leave, please? Can you just get over? Oh my. Yes, now my flag is not working properly. Do you have a flag? Yeah, exactly. Do you have a flag? Anyway, we are having some problems here because I need to get my units to get unstuck. Because if we can get them unstuck, then we will be in a much better position. Okay. Maybe this is better? Not really. I need to... You know, okay. Can you... I think I'm... You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just tell them to do this. There we go. Can you hold position behind me, please? My flag is not helping me in any way, and I'm actually dying quite significantly here. And now we are above them. Can I use my flag a little bit more effectively now? No. It's so annoying when there's people in front of you. There we go. Thank you. Phew. Okay, that's much better. Well, I shouldn't say that's much better because now we're going to get absolutely massacred by all of these units, but that debacle that we had going on there has absolutely thrown a wrench into the gears of progress, basically, what is going on here, so I'm not a big fan of that, but, well, it's giving us much more of a challenge now, at least, because we were rolling over everyone like the proverbial boulder, so, yeah, I think we're pretty good now, maybe. I'm just going to try and help these guys to stay alive as best I can. I am going to get shot by the archers, though. Where are the archers, by the way? Because I don't seem to see any, so I think they might be... Ah, there they are, on the walls over there. Yes, they're actually being quite good at what they do by targeting me down. If they can target me down, then I think they're... Yep, they're going to have a good time. They're going to have a good time now, because as I said... Elias is basically the main reason why we're actually able to do significant damage. And I think, you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to have to retreat here. I didn't want to do that, but the main problem, did you see, is that I did not command my units in that situation. If I had commanded my units in that situation, this would be ours now, and we would have no problems whatsoever. But, as it stands... That will be the end of this episode, and next time we will be taking Blackhaven. I don't know what happened at Harvest Hall. It seems like we might need to either win in an auto-resolve situation, or we will just have to wait until our AI compatriots come over here and decide to take it for themselves. Anyway, I thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.